Okay, guys, what all we covered in the last class? Tell me. Guys, please tell me what all we covered in the last class. Hmm? So we covered XLOOKUP. We look up and choose. Named ranges. Static and dynamic. Then data validation. Static and dynamic. Okay. Also, I gave you a homework last time. Acha, we have done pivot tables also after that. Now tell me what all calculations we have seen in the pivot tables. What all calculations we have seen in the pivot tables? Okay, some count. Okay. So in the show value as, what all calculations we have seen? No, that was in the summarize, right? Show value as percentage of row, row total or column total, I can say. Column total. Okay. What else? Which all other calculations? Parent row total, parent column total, that is same as this. Okay. What else? Index. What's the formula for the index?
Sir, the initial number into grand total upon the total of rows plus total of.
Okay. Anyone else? What's the formula of the index? So it's basically cell value into grand total upon cell value row total into cell value column total. Okay. What else? What all are the calculations? Running total. What is running total? Cumulative. Running total or percentage running total? What else? How can I calculate the percentage growth using pivot table? Hmm? What is that option? What is the option we have in the show value as from the online? Hmm? Percent difference from, right? And then in the next option, we'll select previous, which will give us the percentage growth. So all these things we have seen. After that, what all we have seen? Groups and bins, calculated field. Okay. So this was what all we covered in the last class. Then I also gave you an homework regarding that question 3 of the conditional.
Can you also explain the bins again, groups and bins?
Groups and bins.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let me just get the data once. Or I already have the file, so I can open this one. I have the data over here. This one, right? So this is what we have created a pin over here. Do I have the data? Here's my data. What is the difference? When do we create groups and when do we create bins, guys? Groups and bins. What's like groups can be created on what type of variable?
So categorical and static.
Categorical and continuous both, right? And bins can be created only on
Continuous.
continuous. What's the difference? What's the second difference? Correct. Groups may or may not have fixed interval because these are created based on logical reasonings, right? And bins have what? Fixed interval size. So the difference is clear. Okay, now how can I create a group? Let me create a pivot table. Go here. Insert pivot table. Data. Let's say category. The same example I'm taking, sales. Now, see, if I want to reduce the number of categories based on some logical reasoning, so I see कि यहाँ पे seafood and dairy products are having lower sales numbers. So I would like to merge these two into a single category. So I will select seafood, press Control and select dairy products. Right click. Now click on group. Once you do that, the group is created. Right click and expand, collapse entire field. Done. So this group one is created. I can rename it as, let's say, others. So if I expand others, I will have how many categories inside others? Two, dairy products and seafood. Clear? So this is how I will create a group. Let me insert another pivot table over here. Now let me get, let's say, sales in the rows and right click and click on group. So what it is now, what should be the interval size that I want? Let's say I want an interval size of 500. So accordingly, it will create a fixed interval size of 500 for each of the intervals. Okay, done. Right now I can get the, let's say, sales or some, how many countries or let's say categories are there. So count of categories done. So in this, let's say, have been sold out. So this is an example of bin. Online guys, any query regarding this groups and bins? Group is created. Yeah.
So the use case of groups and bins is only on pivot table. So
No, that's a group, and grouping and binning is a concept.
yeah,
Right?
but
You
it's
can
most
do it
the
without pivot
concept.
table also.
Okay, okay.
You can do it without pivot table also. It's a concept which is available in pivot table. That option is directly available in pivot table.
But mostly this concept is majorly used in pivot table or outside other than the pivot table.
Depends on the analysis. We have done the same thing in schools as well, manually, right? Let's say if you remember, if let's say if I have a car data set, and in the car data set, I have a column which is price. Okay? I want to understand what are the sales happening as per the price brackets. Okay? So let's say 2 lakh to 5 lakh, and then 6 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So like this, I will create bins, and I will get the count over here, count of cars which are sold. So that will give me what are the number of cars sold in each of the price bracket. Probably you will see this number will be higher in the lower price bracket range. So that's the use case of bin. Depends on what analysis you're performing.
Okay.
And grouping is done based on logical reasoning. Guys, clear with groups and bins? क्या कर लें? Okay. So you want me to do this again? देखो ये मैंने क्या एक में merge कर दिया, right? Let me just expand this. Let me just remove this only. And let me get category. ठीक है? Now see carefully. in number. So what will I do? I will just combine into this into a single group. So right click, make the selection, right click, and just click on group. So what it has done is it has basically grouped seafood and dairy products into a single group, and I will just name it as others. Done. So if you'll see inside others, I have these two categories. Right? I will use the same option even to one second, even to do the binning, the group part. But what is happening over here is, let's say if I say sales, right? So it is already binned. Let me ungroup it. Done. Okay. See, if I make multiple selections and if I click on group, what will happen? Grouping or binning? See, if I click on group, grouping will happen, right? Let me just unselect, ungroup, done. But if I just make a single selection on a continuous variable, right click, and if I say group, it is giving me what? Binning ka option. How many? What's the interval size I want to have? Let's say I want to have interval size of 500. Done. It is automatically picking up the minimum and maximum value from the range. Done. Clear? So how many of you have attempted the homework that I gave you last time? Question 3. This question 3. This is my data set. And so this is my question. Yeah, guys, how many of you have done it? Tell me, at least anyone? No? Okay. What it is saying? What is my question? This is my data set 1. This is my data set 2. Highlight all rows where salesman is missing in the second data set. Where do I need to highlight? In this data set. So what I need to highlight, except Joseph and Lawrence, I need to highlight other names like Maria and Matt. Right? So I need to highlight the entire row. So that means I have to use a formula in conditional formatting. So if I'm using a formula in conditional formatting, the output of the formula should be Boolean. Okay. So how can I achieve that? What? So how will you say that this thing is not available over here? Okay, that's one of the option. But let's say this list is of 50 salesmen, or let's say 100 salesmen, then still you will do the same thing. So think of in terms of dynamic perspective that you don't have to do it again and again. So what option we have? Okay. Can I do it using the match function? You guys had doubt regarding the match function. I'll clear it over here. Match function. What match function will return me in the output? Huh? Position? Position of what? Now, okay, among these two data sets, where will be my what will be my lookup value and what will be my lookup array? Tell me that first. But from which table?
So lookup value will be from salesman.
Salesman, this one.
Yeah.
And what will be my lookup array? This one.
Yes.
Okay. Now think logically. If I take lookup value from this, okay. So just understand first that this table contains all the salesmen. This table contains only few of the salesmen. If I consider lookup value from this one, so it will always return me true because all the salesmen are present over here, right? अब फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मेरे को हाईलाइट कौन सा करना था, ये वाला डेटा सेट हाईलाइट करना है, तो लुकअप वैल्यू कौन से डेटा सेट में होगी? दिस टेबल,
This one.
बिकॉज आई नीड टू हाईलाइट दिस टेबल. अब क्वेश्चन कह रहा है कि हाईलाइट ऑल रोज वेयर सेल्समैन इज मिसिंग इन सेकंड डेटा सेट. जहां यहाँ पे मिसिंग हो, तो यहाँ पे कौन से सेल्समैन मिसिंग है? मारियन मैट. सो आई नीड टू हाईलाइट दीज. ठीक है, तो मेरा लुकअप एरे क्या होगा? दिस विल बी माई लुकअप एरे. मेरे को जो टेबल हाईलाइट करनी है वो क्या होगी? लुकअप वैल्यू. वहां से हमेशा लुकअप वैल्यू पिक करेंगे. जिस टेबल में चेक कर रहे हैं that will be what? Lookup array. Be clear with that. Now, if I say यहाँ पे match, because मेरे को position चाहिए ना, match will return me the position. So let's see कि condition formatting match function से हो पाता है कि नहीं हो पाता. It is saying lookup value. So this cell, then it is saying lookup array. So this one, and I will freeze it because I am going to drag it down. Then match type. What type of match I want? Exact match 0. What do you think? What it will return me? Position 1, 2 or 3. So it will return me either 2 or 3 because I selected salesman ना यहाँ पे. ठीक है. So now what will I do? I will drag it. So जहाँ पे hash n आ रहा है उसका मतलब क्या है? That's not present. That is missing in the second data set, right? ठीक है. But conditional formatting won't accept this formula. It won't highlight because output should be what? Boolean, and this is value not available or not found. So this is a kind of an error which also conditional formatting won't pick it up. So I will say now, if NA or if error, let's say if NA or if error, something like that. So this is my value, right? If the value is available, keep the value as it is. Otherwise, what you can say is, let's say I'm saying not found. I can do that. So जहां पे भी hash n था वहां पे क्या आ जाएगा? Not found. Just control C. Not found. Okay, but still it is not boolean. I have removed the errors with some value, but still it is not boolean. तो क्या करेंगे? How can I get the boolean value? What's the if numerical text? Okay, that will still be a value, not boolean output. How can I get the boolean output? ये discuss किया था मैंने. कब आता है? हाँ? Whenever you do comparison, I want to highlight which one? These one. So these should be true and these should be what? False. So I will say if this value is equals to not found, then what will be the output? If this is equals to not found, it will return me what? True, otherwise false. So it is returning me false for this one. Let me just drag it. So it is true for these. Okay. Now, is it a valid formula for conditional formatting? What should I need to do? What I need to do further? Sorry? I need to freeze what? Column, because it takes proper. It is checking for C33. Next cell will be what? C34. So my column is constant. That means I need to freeze it because conditional formatting takes proper syntax. So put dollar in front of it. Okay. And we are good to go. Let me copy the formula. This is how you are going to define your formula. I've used logical functions. I've used match function and comparison operators. That's it. So Control C I have done. Let me make the selection of the range, conditional formatting, manage rules, new rule, use a formula, and equals to paste. Okay. What I need to do, format with, let's say, this green color, probably. Apply. So is it correct or not? Only those salesmen are highlighted, Maria, Matt, which are not available in the second data set. Right? ठीक है. This is one of the way कि I have done conditional formatting का simple logic है कि आपका output boolean होना चाहिए. True होगा तो highlight होगा cell, false होगा तो नहीं होगा highlight. Now tell me what other formula I can think of to get the same thing done? Match function से हो गया. Can I do it using the array function? And if yes, then which function? Index. Yes, that can be done with index, but I'm keeping out this index and we look up outside. The array functions, main array functions. COUNTIF, good. So I can use COUNTIF over here. What will be the logic I'll be applying over here? अगर value available है, तो count क्या आएगा? 1 or more than 1. If the value is not available, what will be the count? 0. Right? So I will say count if range. So what will be my range? This one. I just told you. This is criteria range. Where I need to look for the value. Second, this will be my range. I'll freeze it. What is my criteria? This is my criteria. That's my criteria range. This is my criteria. Done. Now let me put dollar over here, or I'll put it later. Okay. So let me just drag it and good to go. Okay. Now what? What's the next step? What is the next step, guys? I need to get the boolean output. यहाँ पे error तो है नहीं कि मैं error remove करूंगा. I need to get the boolean output for these rows, right? So how can I get the boolean output? If you get the boolean output by comparison. So can I simply not say equals to 0? If this value is equals to 0, it is true, otherwise false. So all the zeros will be what? True in this case. Then simply see. So multiple approaches and the same output. Just if you want to use this in conditional formatting, just freeze the column. So this is how you can do it using array functions. Let's do it using VLOOKUP. How can I do it using VLOOKUP? So let's say VLOOKUP. If the value is not matched, what will be the error? Hash NA. Okay, let's do that. This is my lookup value, and this is my table array. Let me freeze it. Column index number. From which column I want the output? 1. There's only one column. What type of match? Exact. 0. So it is returning me the names. Right? Hash NA. So I will say if NA. If there is a NA value or error value, I want what in the output? Let's say not found. Done. Now I need this as true because this is not available in the second data set. So I will say equals to what? Not found. Or you can say 0, whatever value you're giving over here, you can compare with that. Not found. And I just need to freeze this lookup value ka column. False. And so right now I've just told you 3 approaches, whatever concepts we have learned, and we are doing the same thing, conditional formatting. I can do the same thing using index and match also, offset and match also. Right? You just need to think of the logic, how you are going to approach this problem. If you're not able to think of the logic, just give a try with the function and then develop your further steps. Okay? Any doubt over here? Online guys, any doubt in this section? Okay, how many of you were able to complete this question? This last 3. You were able to complete that? Okay. Lawrence भी तो है ना यहाँ पे? I have taken lookup value, this, right? So when I drag it, it will change. Lookup value is like criteria. Table array is a criteria range. Clear? Guys, at least let me know clear or not. Seems you haven't revised the previous classes. Online guys, let me know.
तो जैसे आपने लॉजिक लगा लिया, हमारे तो माइंड में वो भी नहीं आ रहा था कि ये स्टेप बाय स्टेप क्या क्या करना है.
Because you need to first think of it, na? You need to think through the logic. If you're not able to think through the logic, what you can say, you can even search on Google about it. Like something you need to start with. If you are thinking this entire thing I'll be able to get in a single go, no, you won't. It's a try and error thing, right? At least start with something. Can I use this concept to get this thing done? This much you can think of. If match
अभी
function
जैसे
returns
सर
the position.
आपने मैच फंक्शन में बताया उसमें लाइक स्टेप बाय स्टेप आपने 3 से 4 स्टेप कर दिए राइट
Yeah.
काउंट इफ में खाली आपने एक स्टेप में ही कर दिया और
हाँ,
वी
तो
लुकअप
it did not
तो वो
required.
काफी कंफ्यूजिंग हो जाता है तीनों
Count if का क्या सीन था यहाँ पे? Count if का अगर वैल्यू अवेलेबल है तो it will give me the count. Otherwise it will return me what? 0. मैच फंक्शन में क्या होता है? मैच फंक्शन में अगर वैल्यू मैच हो रही है तो it will return me the position. Otherwise it will return me hash and error. Same is the case with the lookup function. अगर वैल्यू अवेलेबल है तो it will give me the value or the name. Value is in over here is the name. Otherwise it will return me what? Hash and name. So all these things will come with practice only. Bhavya, what about you?
Yes, it's clear as of now.
Yeah, okay.
We'll need to practice to,
Yeah.
get hold of it.
Offline guys, clear? Okay. ठीक है. So moving on. So what we will cover today is charts. ठीक है? Now, like what are the major 4 categories of charts you guys can think of? Like if I start with one is composition, right? Then we have distribution. I can say composition analysis or distribution analysis. I can say relationship analysis. And comparative analysis or comparison. So these are the 4 major categories in which the charts are distributed, right? If I talk about the composition analysis, what all charts I have over here in composition analysis? Yes, guys, what all charts I have in composition analysis? At least this you can tell me. What is composition? Proportion? Which chart you pie chart? Good. Pie chart I have over here. And one more chart I can use over here is 100% stack chart. Distribution. I can have histogram. I can have scatter plot to understand the distribution of the data. Okay. Relationship. Which one? Line chart. Relationship. Yes, I can use line chart. 1 second. Let's say if you have a single variable, I know too many points. Okay. So one is, I'm not sure about line chart over here. Relationship over or we can say trend or that over a, okay. I can say line chart over a period of time. Okay. What else? I can have scatter plot to determine the relationship between 2 continuous variables. Comparison. Bar chart. Column chart. Which one? Stack charts. Yes. Line charts. So all these you can be used for comparative analysis, right? Now, which one to create in which scenario, I'll tell you that. But this is just the overview of the categories of the charts in which the majority of the charts are divided into, right? Okay. So let me just open up that. Okay. So let's start with this first chart, which we have. Okay. So this one is which one? Column chart, right? Let me just explain this. What is the issue? Okay, this is a column chart. So let's say this chart will be created when you have one categorical variable and one continuous variable, right? This is column chart. Categorical variable will be on the x-axis, continuous variable will be on the y-axis. Now, what it is doing is when I want to compare the categories of a categorical variable, I'll be creating what? A column chart. So what it is doing, this is one of the categorical variable I'm having, and these are the categories. So column chart or bar chart. Now there's a bifurcation over here, when to go with column chart and when to go with bar chart. Now let's say ये जो number of categories है, that is between 5 to 7, or let's say less than equals to 7. I'll be going with column chart. But if these categories are exceeding, like these are around 15, like greater than 7, so this is a thumb rule, not a very fixed rule. This is the general criteria. So if you have around, let's say, 15 number of categories in a variable, you will be going with which chart? Bar chart. So this is how the bar chart looks like. So this is the bar chart. One second. Yeah, this is the bar chart. Okay?
Hi, can you just repeat the last thing?
Categories on the x-axis should be around 7. And they should not have long labels. Should not have long labels, and number of categories should be around 7. For that reason, you can create a column chart. Okay? But if you have
Okay.
long labels, so see, we can come with a few rules over here. Let's say short labels, right? You will go with which chart? Column chart. You have 7 categories, not 7 exactly, I'll say around 7, and you have long labels. So in that case, you'll go with bar chart because long labels are. You have around 15 categories, short labels. Which one? Bar chart. Fourth scenario, around 15 categories and long labels. Bar chart. Clear? So we'll be going with column chart only in the first scenario, where you have short labels and the number of categories for a categorical variable is around 7. See, if you have long labels, so here also I don't have the number of categories greater than 7, but I have long labels and they are displayed correctly in case of bar chart. So I'll be going with bar chart in that case. So is everyone clear till this point? Now how to create this chart? Simply make the selection, go to the insert tab, and here you have an option of chart. So here you can select this chart. So a column chart is created now. Okay. Now let's say if you have a, instead of a single single continuous variable, you have 2 continuous variables or more than 2 continuous variables. So this chart will become what? So now let's say this is what we have. Now let's understand the sections of the chart over here. So this section, if you see over here, is what? This section is known as the plot area. Okay? The outside section. This section is known as the chart area. This is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. Just remember this bifurcation. It is important when you are formatting the charts. Okay? Now let's say if I click on the chart, any of the chart over here, let's say I click over here on the plot area, right click, and I will say format plot area. Once I do that, this window will open up on the right hand side. Okay, I want to fill borders. Let's say I want to fill solid fill, and I want to make the color to be, let's say, some grayish color probably. So only my plot area is filled. Okay, if I make this my plot area to be white, no fill, and I click on chart area, so I will say solid fill. So entire chart area will be in grayish color. That includes the plot area. If now I give some other color to the plot area, so that will be shown as different. Yeah, something like that. Let's make it a bit darker shade. Yeah. Clear? If you want to change the color of the bar, that can also be done. Just select the bars and fill, solid fill. Let me make it some, this one. Not a good color to go with. I don't have a good choice in colors. Let's say this one probably. No. This, I don't like this one. Let me change this one. Whitish. Yeah, probably this one. Okay. So this is how you can change the color of the bars also. You can now, if you want to change the color of the axis, that can also be done. So if I click over here, fill, I will say solid fill. I will make it white. Simply, I can make this also as white, solid fill and white. Okay. So this is how you can, even if you click on any of these, you can do the formatting. So these options you have over here also, if you want to give axis titles, so you can give that also. If you want to give data labels from here, you can do that. Right. If you want to give legends, that can also be done. Just you need to click on this plus, and these are all other chart elements that you'll be able to see over here. So let me make it as this chart only. So this is the formatting which I have done, and this is how you can do the formatting on any of the charts as per your wish or requirements. Clear with this?
So other than the coloring, change of color, what else formatting do we have?
Yeah, we'll cover that in the advanced chart section. So you can add this axis titles. You can add data labels. You can add legends if you want to. Trend line is for a line chart. Okay. And if you click on these lines, you can even basically increase the transparency of these lines from here. So whatever you need to format, just click on that particular element of the chart. Okay. Third column chart. So if I make the selection over here, and let me just close it. Selection insert, you just have to select the same option, column chart, and it will be created. Now you can format it as per your understanding. You can give different colors to these charts. Let's say this one, right click, format data series, and I would like to give this as, let's say, greenish color, so that can be done. Okay. If you want to give chart title, you can give chart title. And what else? Yeah, pretty much same. So you can do the formatting. Just explore this section over here, and this clustered column chart will be created. I have told you the conditions when to create a column chart and when to create a bar chart. Next chart we have is a bar chart. Because we have long labels over here, I want to display that. And I want to do the comparison within the categories of a categorical variable. So I'll be creating a bar chart for that. Simply, you have a column chart option over here, so you have a bar chart option. Right? Okay. Next we have is, so similarly, see, we have a bar chart. Similarly, that this will become a clustered bar chart. Then we have line chart. So line chart is created when you want to do the analysis over a period of time. Like whenever you have date variable included, so you will be doing the line chart analysis for that. So again, make the selection. I have more than one continuous variable. So there will be two line charts and month will be on the x-axis. So insert. So this is the line chart I have, and done. Right. And for you have the chart elements, you can give the axis labels from here and give them as months and marks. Okay. So whenever you want to do the comparison over a period of time or analysis over a period of time, you will be creating a line chart. Whenever time period is considered, line chart is the one you will go with. Okay. Composition, pie chart. Okay. When you want to show the composition, that is percentage distribution. So ideally these and done. So what will I do? First, I will add a data labels. Let's say, okay? I will add data labels. Then data labels are added. Now, once I want to format the data labels, I will right click. I will say format data labels. So this window will open up. Now it is saying ki whether you want to show value or percentage. I want to show what? Percentage and not the value. And I will give this as solid fill, some whitish, this color, and done. So this is now converted into percentage. I plotted the pie chart with the values, and now these are displayed into percentages. You can even have an option of displaying it where you want to display it. For example, outside and let's say, yeah. So these are the options how you want to display your data labels. So I want to display it outside the pie chart. So this is the option I can select from the label position. And done. Other formatting can be done from your end. So whenever you want to show the composition or the distribution or the proportion over a period of any have around, let's say, 5 to 6 categories, not more than that. Because if your charts, if any of your chart looks very cluttered, then it does not make sense. Okay? It should be readable.
So donut chart also the part of the composition chart.
Yeah, same as pie chart. Then we have area chart. When you want to understand the change between any two, let's say, continuous variables, for that you can have the area chart. Now, one thing over here is, let's say, this is my target, this is my actual. If I make, let me just do that, insert an area chart. So where do I have this area chart? Line chart? Yeah. I have this area chart over here in the line chart. Again, one of the variation of the line chart over here. Now, let me do one thing. I can change the color also, that can be done. But let's say my actual is red, target is green. Okay, so let me make my target actual to be 70, let's say. Right? So major use cases, let's say just you want to understand which are the because it won't display the one which has the lower value. So that means कि यहाँ पे these are overachievers. So let's say the company has overachieved during this period from Feb to April, but not in Jan. Right? Target is on the higher side in Jan. So for when you want to compare the magnitude of these any two continuous variables over a period of time, so for that you can have the line chart. So for any whenever the you will have the line chart. Now what kind of line chart you'll be plotting, that you have to decide. Okay? Yeah. It will be very cluttered. We have 100% stack chart. In stack chart also you can have, like, in a single category, if you have, let's say, if you have subcategories also, so you max 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 subcategories you should have, not more than that. I'll show you that 100% stack chart also. So this is just to display the magnitude. You have the area chart. Then the next type of chart that we have is combination chart. See, the same thing that we displayed using this line chart and this one also. Is it clustered column chart? This can be done with this also. Now, it depends on you which chart is more suitable for what type of analysis you are doing. So these are the different type of charts I have. So if I create this chart, combination chart, so I will say insert and chart. So let me say, do I have any combo chart? Yes. This option is directly available with me in my version. But let's say this option is not available with you. Then how will you create this chart? What do you think? What is the basic chart for this one? Any chart you can take. Any chart you can take. Let's say clustered column chart, right? What I want is, I want target to be the line, right? So I will say यहाँ पे right click and I will say change series chart type. Once I do that, this window will open up. Now here I want to make target as the line chart, right? So instead of clustered column, I will say line type. Okay. So what I have done, click on line chart, give the data labels, not to the line chart, let's say to the bars, data labels. Done. So if you check over here, I have created the same chart using the clustered column chart. Clear? Guys, any query? How to?
What if there is a difference in the format?
Number format means?
Like if we have one in the numbers and other one as specific.
Okay. Okay, I'll come to, for in that case, what you can do is, like I created this chain series chart type. You can have a separate axis, secondary axis. You can click this option. Once you do that, see, it is a separate axis now. So one secondary axis will be in percentage and the primary axis will be in numbers. So this is combination chart that you have.
I think that is when you show percentage growth. Like
Percentage growth,
month-on-month growth.
month on month growth. For that, yes, we can. Then you need to have the line chart for that over a period of time. You can display line chart, but you need to have the data for that.
So let's say we have months and actual figures and then it's figures we get we show the percentage.
Percentage growth. So let's say what I will have is right. So what will I have? This one. So I won't have the data for this one. So it will be this minus this divided by 50. 5 divided by 50, right? D7. And let me convert this into the percentage and target and growth.
I don't need to take the month actually.
So you're not able to see that line, right? So I will say right click, change series chart type. And this I'll make it as line chart and I will put this into the secondary axis. Done. So these are my, okay, these are my target. I should have taken actual, but again, the same thing. This is how you can show the percentage growth over a period of time. Clear? And it will make more sense if you just show the percentage growth rather than not along with the actual values. Okay. So this is the combination chart that you have. So instead of just creating the clustered column chart, you can also create the combination chart when you want to display the target and the actual value. Okay. Scatter plot, when you want to compare the relationship between two continuous variables. What do you see over here? If rainfall, if the probability, if the rainfall is increasing, what is happening? The probability of drought is decreasing, right? So inversely proportional. These variables are what? Inversely proportional. If the rainfall is in lower is lower, not very high number, then the probability of drought will increase. So it's inversely proportional. What would have been proportional? अगर rainfall increase हो रही है and drought भी increase हो रहा है. That's what proportional. Directly proportional. A very common example is sales increase हो रही है, profit is also getting increased. Directly proportional, sales is increasing, profit is decreasing. Inversely proportional. So in case of scatter plot on both the axes x and y, you will have continuous variables. Okay. So let me just make the selection of these two variables over here, and I will say insert, and you have an option of scatter plot over here. Yeah. So it is two-dimensional, right? When you have more than two variables, you can go with bubble chart. That's an extended version of scatter plot. So let's say if I insert and I can go with bubble chart in this case. So here it won't make sense because we should have more variables for this. So let me keep it to scatter plot. If you have more than two variables, so the third variable will depict the size of the bubble. let's say you have region, and then you have, let's say, sales profit. So let's say you have sales profit, and then you have any third variable. So let's say cost, right? Then cost will depict the size of the bubble. Now you can apply the formatting from your end on this. So when you want to compare any two continuous variables, or to find out the relationship between two continuous variables, for that you'll be going with the scatter plot. Okay. So it shows you the correlation, and the value of the correlation is between what? -1 to 1. Let's say if it is greater than 0.4, then it is said positively correlated. If the value is less than -0.4, it is said negatively correlated. So it's like directly proportional and inversely proportional. If the value is between -0.4 to 0.4, then it is said no correlation. Okay. So this is what? No correlation, a straight line. This thing you will be studying in the Python statistic classes. But yeah, scatter plot is helping us to, is telling us the correlation between the two continuous variables. That is the relationship between the two continuous variables. So this is the chart formatting we will see over here. So what I will do, I will create this clustered column chart, and you guys tell me what all I need to format over here. So this is the chart that I've created. Now I want to make look this chart like this one, which is already there. This one. What all changes I need to do over here? Chart
Plot.
title. Okay, let's say it is gone. Let me add it. Chart title. And I will say यहाँ पे sales number for ACs. Then what else?
Increase the y-axis scale.
Correct. My y-axis should be from 0 to 20,000, and so this thing is known as major, right? And between the majors there are what? Minors. So what's the gap between the majors? 4,000. And
4,000.
what should be the gap between the minors? Let's say 1,000 or 500, something like that. We will see. Okay. So I need to change my y-axis from 0 to 7,000 to 0 to 20,000. Y-axis scale. I need to change the y-axis scale. So right click, 1 second. Right click, format axis. Now you can see axis options. I want to have from 0 to what? 20,000. 20,000. Now major is of 4,000, and major should be of how many? 4,000, right? 4,000. It will pick it automatically, and minor is of 800. Done. So tick marks, let's say major type. I want to tick major type be as it is. Minor type, let's say I'm making it outside. So you are able to see the minus now. Okay. Now what else I need to do? I need to make
Coloring.
let's say, let me color this plot area as blue. So right click, solid fill, something bluish, lighter shade of this. Right. Then this has some orangish, which is chart area, solid fill, and let's say this one. Okay. Done. What else I need to do? Edges. And this has to be rounded. So borders. So I will say solid line, and I will give the color as some maroon type. Done. And okay. I want to have rounded corners. So rounded corner option I'll check. And I will increase the width of it. So now it's visible. And if you want to increase some transparency also, that can also be done. And so this was chart formatting that we have done. Clear? So you can explore whatever options you are having in this section. Just click on the element, whichever element you want to format. Now, any doubt in any of the chart sections that we have discussed? Comparative charts, relationship charts. Then we have composition charts. and distribution charts. Clear? Online, guys? किस चीज का लाइन चार्ट चाहिए? आपके पास
यहाँ पे मेरे पास दो बार जल्दी शुरू हो और लाइन पे शुरू हो। ये बस कॉम्बिनेशन में जो हो रहा है इसमें मैंने कर दिया।
so you need to have two variables. So bubble chart, let's say. Let's say again, if I have something, let's say some data I'm taking, let's say just to understand A, B, C, D. So column 1, column 2, column 3, and well, yeah. So let's say 1 second, let me just check this one. If I have this and insert this bubble chart, this is just the shade, and it is taking 1, 2, 3, 4. So column 1, 12, 14, 24, 16. And first one is deciding the size of it. So we have over here now, see, it is taking up what? 24, 34, 14, 11. Last column, whatever the last column is, it is taking that. I mean, it's not that advanced in Excel. Let's say if I add one more column, column 4. So I'm taking the values as 24, not 24, let's say starting from 30, 32, 36, 30. Now, if I select these three and insert a column chart, bubble chart, and if I select that chart elements, I want to have the data labels. So 34, we have 24, 14, 11. So we don't have that functionality in Excel, but we have it in Power BI. Power BI mein I can do multiple things. I can change the color of the bubble based on the category it is. I can change the size based on some continuous variable. Like multiple things can be done, but here we just have one thing. It is just increasing the size based on whatever the last column is. bubble chart. So of not any such significance over here, right? Better to go with the scatter plot only. Okay, we will discuss this in detail in Power BI. Huh? Combination charts.
तीन वैल्यूज है अगर स्कैटर्ड कॉलम चार्ट में बना रहे हो तो एक बार एक टाइम ऐसे बनाते हैं
That is no, that is not the thing. I'm talking about the scatter plot only here. Bubble chart. Okay. Online guys, any query regarding the chart section till whatever we have covered? Tell me now. Yeah. Yeah, online guys, let me know. No? Okay. So it's 10:55. Let's have a break and everyone be back by 11:15 and then we will start some advanced charts. 15. Okay. So the next, now we'll be working on the advanced charts. Okay. So next type of chart that we have is this one. So first chart that we'll be looking into is Pareto chart or Pareto analysis. What's Pareto analysis? Anyone from the industry? What's Pareto analysis? From the online? So you may have heard of Pareto analysis or that 80-20 rule. So let's say you are a, let's say some Wi-Fi company, some company providing Wi-Fi services, right? Now you will have majority of you. Let's say you have majority like a lot of issues. Let's say you have around 100 issues to resolve, 100 different issues in your services which customers are facing to resolve. Okay. Now again, you have limited resources. It's not that you can hire any number of workers just to resolve those issues because ultimately you have to be a profitable company, right? If you hire the number of workers more than the required, what will happen? Cost will increase and ultimately will be a loss-making company, right? So with limited resources, you have to optimize your use of resources, right? When I say resources, that means workers or the employees. So let's say you have 11 customers have reported around, let's say 100 issues that your Wi-Fi company is facing, that the customer is facing, right? Now, in order to what you should do is you have, let's say around 1,000 customer base, right? Now, what should you do in order to sustain this company? What do you think? So you should ideally think what should be the issues which you should resolve on priority, right? How can I identify which are the issues which I should resolve on priority? Well, let's say not 100, I have 10 issues only, but still, which are the, let's say, top 5 or top 3 issues which I should resolve on priority? How would I know? Ultimately, I will have the issues on one of the axes or one of the columns, and I will have the count, how many customers are facing this issue, right? Then I will sort this in descending order, and whichever issues are at the top, I will look those issues onto priority. That is one way, right? Okay. So that will tell me कि these are the issues I need to look into priority. But again, how much of the customers I'm targeting by looking onto those? Let's say if I'm solving top 5 issues, right? If I have 10 issues and I'm solving top 5 issues, so I will check how much is the percentage of the customers customer chunk percentage I'm targeting. Let's say if I'm solving top 5 and if I'm solving around 80% of the customers issue, then that's a good number to go with. I can basically neglect these and look into at later part. These are the ones I will look into priority. So that's what it is, 80-20 rule. That is, by addressing, let's say 20% of the problems, I'm making 80% of the customers happy. So even if the customers are going to, which are churned out from my services, let's say 20% of the customers, what is the worst scenario that can happen? Let's say around 10% are moving to, I can say, other Wi-Fi service provider. That's still not that much loss to the company compared if you just target any random problem and you are not even addressing, let's say, 10% of the customers' issue. So you'll be losing out on the 90% of the customer churn rate. 90% of the customers will be moving to some other service provider, which provides a better service. So that's what 80-20 rule is, that by addressing 20% of the problems, you are making 80% of the customers happy. But you need to identify which are those top 20% of the problems, right? That's what Pareto analysis is. So let me just get the data, and then we will see what we can do in that case. Let's say defects and frequency. So I have these defects and I have this frequency. So these are my problems, issues, defects in a particular product. Let's say these are my frequency count of the customers. Now, first step is what? Sort this in what? Sort the defects in descending order. So that is already done over here. Defects count is in descending order, right? Now, my problem is I want to identify, let's say if I want to cover 80% of the customers, if I want to make 80% of the customers happy, then whether I should consider top 2 defects or top 3 defects or top 4 defects or top 5 defects. I need to figure that out. How can I figure that out? For that, I'll be calculating cumulative frequency percentage, right? So to do that, first I need to calculate what? Cumulative frequency. So this as it is, then previous plus current. Now I can drag it. This is what? 109 is what? My total frequency count, total number of customers, let's say. Now using this, I will calculate what? Cumulative frequency percentage, which is 50 divided by 109. What I need to do next? Freeze the total. F4 done. And I will just drag it. Okay.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
I cannot see anything you're doing on the screen. I can see the Pareto analysis on the screen, but all what you've just done or said.
This is what I have done. So I have calculated cumulative frequency. Let me do it again.
Yeah, because the only chart one was on the screen.
So see, how can I get the cumulative frequency? For the first row, it will be this one only. But for the second defect, what will be the second row? What will be the cumulative frequency? Previous plus current. And this is what we have. Now, how can I calculate cumulative frequency percentage? Cumulative frequency divided by total, which is 109. And I will freeze it because I need to divide by this cell only every time to freeze it. Done. And I've converted that into percentage. So that's 100%. So this is my table now. Clear till this point?
Still a little confused. Can you just show this again?
Which part you are not able to understand?
The cumulative frequency, what you did.
Okay.
Exactly. So first you did in the descending order?
Yeah, this is descending order. But defect was sorted in descending order on the basis of the frequency. Okay, let me write it in descending order based on frequency count. Second step is calculate cumulative frequency percentage. Now, how can I calculate cumulative frequency percentage? So for that, first I need to calculate cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is what? Running total. How can I calculate running total? Running total for defect 1 will be what? This as it is. For defect 2, what is the running total? What is the running total for defect 2? Am I audible?
It's 50 plus 30. So it's going to be 80.
Previous plus current, right? Previous plus current. And so this is the formula that I have derived, which is previous plus current, right? And I can simply drag it. So this is my total frequency count, right? See, this is one way. This is a formula which is dynamic in this case. If you don't want it dynamic, what you will be doing is you will be saying 50. Okay? And then for the next, it will be what? 50 plus 30. For the next, it will be what? 50 plus 30 plus 15. That's how the manual labor you are going to do it. But if you want it dynamic, just simply cell. So you will say previous cell for the first, this is the first cell reference as it is. for the second defect, it will be what? Previous plus current. So this is previous, this is current, and I can simply now drag it. I hope it's clear now with the cumulative frequency. Everyone online, guys.
Yes, clear.
Then for the cumulative frequency percentage, if you want to calculate the cumulative frequency percentage, it is what? Cumulative frequency divided by total. So this is my cumulative frequency. What is my total? 109. If you're not sure about this, you can even take the sum of it. Okay? If you take the sum of it, you'll still get 109. Because ultimately I'm taking the sum of all of these for the last defect. So 109. So it is what? Current frequency, cumulative frequency divided by total frequency and freeze it. Done. So this is what your cumulative frequency percentage. Now, what's the use case of cumulative frequency percentage over here? It will tell me how many defects will cover how many percentage of the customers, right? If I'm saying I just want to make 73% of the customers happy, I can just resolve these two defects. Focus on these two defects. If I'm saying I want to make 87% of the customers happy, so see, instead of focusing on all the 10 defects, I can simply just focus on these 3 defects to make 87 of the customers happy. Clear? So that's the use case of cumulative frequency percentage. This is telling me what percentage of customers, like what percentage of customers will be happy if you solve particular number of defects, resolve particular number of issues. Okay. Now, I want to create a Pareto chart. Okay. This is how the Pareto chart looks like. Just one second. So on the y-axis, I have cumulative frequency percentage. On the x-axis, I have the frequency count. So on the primary y-axis, I have the frequency count. On the secondary y-axis, I have the cumulative frequency percentage. On the x-axis, I have the effects. So if you look at it, how will you look at it? See, if I want to make, let's say, if I'm saying ki I want to make, let's say, 80% or 87%. So probably this is how it is, let's say. So if I resolve 2 defects completely and some customers of the defect 3, it will help me in basically it will make 87% of the customers happy. Huh?
Some of the defect, not entirely.
What sum of the defect means? This is the frequency. And this is the cumulative frequency percentage. If the company is saying, no, we want to make around 90% of the customers happy. So 90% will lie somewhere around over here. So that means I just need to take care of these 3 defects to make 90% of the customers happy. So that means that these 3 defects need to be taken on priority. That is what Pareto analysis is. Now this analysis, it is not necessary it has to be 80-20. It depends on scenario to scenario, on company to company. It can be 70-30. That is by resolving, by making 70% of the customers happy, by focusing on 30% of the problems, or 60-40. So these are the ratios we take. 90-10 is very rare. This is very rare, but these 3 we generally use. So before creating this chart, this is the data preparation that you're going to do. Okay. Now, if I needed to do the same thing using a pivot table, how will I do it? So let me just Control C. Let me just paste it. Not paste it. Actually, let me create a pivot table. Let me insert a pivot table over here. So insert pivot table, then table range. This is my table range. Done. I have created the frequency, but you will get the frequency by taking the count of the raw data. I do not have the raw data now. Okay, but I'll tell you what are the furthermore steps that you'll be taking up. Frequency, right? I will just rename this thing from sum of frequency to frequency. It is already exist. Right. Okay, done. Okay. Now it is not sorted in descending order. So first step is what? Sort. Right click, sort largest to smallest. Done. Now it is correct. Okay. Now what I need to do? I need to calculate cumulative frequency. So I'll drag this again and right click, show value as running total. So instead of calculating cumulative frequency, I can directly calculate percentage running total. Cumulative frequency percentage. Done. Effects. See, same output. I've got this. Now I can select this and basically create the chart. Clear? So let me create the chart using this only. This. I've selected this, insert, and I will insert a chart. This is the chart. Okay. Now what I need to do? I need to make it a Pareto chart. How can I make it a Pareto chart? Change chart type, right click, select the bar, right click, change series chart type. Okay, I need to have frequency as a column, right? And this sum of frequency, this is the name. This I will change it later. This is what basically cumulative frequency percentage. I want this as what? Line chart. Line chart. But this has to be on the secondary axis because this is in percentage, this is in numbers. And good to go. I can change the name over here. Clear? I can add data labels to the. So it will make sense if I increase this a bit. Yeah. So it's clear now. I can even change. I can even select the theme of this. View. Not. Yeah. I can even change the theme from here as well directly. Like these are the options that are available with you, right? From the design. Once you click on this. So this is what Pareto chart is. And this is how you can create this. So what you need to basically, if you will perform this data preparation, you will copy the issues, you will remove the duplicates, then you will get the frequency count. अगर आप Excel से करोगे तो count if use करोगे. Then you will sort the frequencies in descending order. Then you will calculate the cumulative frequency percentage. And then you are going to create a column chart, clustered column, and convert it into a Pareto chart. Clear? So some of the Excel versions may have a direct option also available with you. 1 second. So insert, and if I say recommended charts, so somewhere. I don't have that option, but yeah, some of the Excel versions, latest ones, do have that option. 1 second. A waterfall funnel. No. I don't have this, but still you can create that. Okay? So I've told you if you don't have that option, how you can create it from the basic charts. Any doubt in the Pareto chart? Anyone? Online guys, clear with the Pareto chart? Yeah. Over here. Over here. So I simply, my cumulative frequency is in percentage. So simply I just clicked over here and I said change series chart type. And I just clicked over here secondary axis. That's it. Okay. Online guys, let me know any queries in the Pareto chart section. I would like online guys to be more responsive.
No.
Okay. Moving on. So let's say this is Pareto chart analysis. So whenever you have a question that you have a limited bandwidth or limited resources, you can go with the Pareto chart. The next type of chart, let's say we will look into is thermometer chart. Okay. So let me show you that once. So this is how the thermometer chart looks like. Nothing, just a fancy version of a column chart, right? So what all data preparation you need over here, let me just tell you. Let me paste the data. So what do you think? Like what could be the use case of the thermometer chart? See, in organizations, you need to make things look very appealing. So simple charts won't work out. Like even clients have a request to even pick some right colors, right? So these minor things we need to take care of. Now, thermometer chart, you have seen how it looks like, right? What could be the use case of this one in real life scenario? So in order, let's say you have a team. If you want to keep a track of your team members' performance, you can create a thermometer chart for each one of them, right? You just need to fill in the details and it will automatically give the overall at the end of the month or the year. So see, thermometer chart is for a simple task, one single task, right? That is performance tracking. If you want to highlight a second reason could be, second example could be ki you are given project deadline, right? Let's say 2 months. Each day, how many points have been covered or how much percentage of the project have been covered. That can also be done using thermometer chart, right? So whenever you want to keep a track of a single chart, which is up to 100%. So here you cannot have the sales targets, because some people, some salesperson may have overachieved it, which you won't be able to display, because maximum is what? 100%. For that, we have got chart, which we'll be seeing in the Pareto Power BI. Okay, then. So see, for each day, I'll be adding up the points, right? This is my target, 1000. This is how much I have achieved on day 12. And this is the percentage. Okay. I need to create my base chart is what? Column chart, a single column, right? So what I need to have, what I need to select? Do I need to select this? If I select this, how will the column chart will appear? Day 1, 2, I'll have multiple column charts, right? Like, so I will have around 12 columns, but I want to have a single column chart, and I want to show the percentage, how much percentage of the work has been done, or what's the performance in terms of percentage, how much have been achieved. So target, this is achieved, which is what? Sum of this. Now, if I want to calculate the percentage, which is what? This cell divided by target, achieved divided by target. I'll just select this and I will insert a column chart. Done. Okay. Now let me remove this title. Okay. Now, if I want to have what? I want to have this. Let me change the color of this first. So format data series, and I will make it fill, solid fill, and I will make it red color. Done. What I want to do now is, see, if you see this chart, you are not able to see any white area, right? It is just say black area is what? The plot area. And red area is what? The bar area. So that means the plot area and the bar area are overlapped, right? So if I do that over here, can I overlap this using this by increasing or decreasing the size of the chart? No, this won't happen, right? So what I can do is I can simply click on this, go to this option, and here I have an option of series overlap, right? I'll make it 100%. Sorry, not series overlap. That's for the chart. That is gap width. I want to decrease the gap between the plot area and the bar. That's done. This thing is done. I want to give black color to the plot area. So let me fill black color to the plot area. Okay. Now I need to make it change the x-axis scale from 0 to 80% to 100%. So again, text options, axis options, and maximum will be what? 1. Somewhat looks like the thermometer. Okay. What is the next step I need to do? I need to add a tip to it. So insert, and I will add a shape to it. Shape and this oval shape. Okay. Just add this. Now I need to change the color of this one, solid fill, and I will say red color. But still, I'm able to see this boundary. So I will say line, and I will say no line. Done. Gone. Right. But still, now what? This is not a single visual, right? If I try to drag it, if I try to drag this thing, 1 second. So see, it's different, and the tip is different because these are two different visuals. So what I will do is I will group them together. Okay. I will group them together. So I will make the selection of first visual, control, second visual, right click, and I will say group. Okay, done. Now it is grouped. So I can now, 1 second. I can now just drag it. It's a single visual now. Okay. So one thing I need to do is I need to give key what's the percentage over here, right? So if I try to write it over here, give the address of this cell and check what happens. Not working in this shape. So what I can do is I can add a text box. So I will insert, I will insert a text box over here. Okay. But here also I cannot take the reference of the cell. So what I do? I will select the text box. I will go to this. I will go to this formula bar. I will say equals to, and will take the reference of the cell percentage. Okay, it is freezed. Enter. No. Let me just increase the size somehow. Yeah, able to see it now. Now let's say if I change from here, day 12 was not 35, it was 50. My percentage will change accordingly, and the bar length will change accordingly. Okay, let me make it 35 for now. Clear? So this is how you can create the thermometer chart. Max will be 100%, and it will track the performance. For that reason, you can have the thermometer chart. Any query, any doubt in how to create a thermometer chart? Just a fancy chart for the column chart. Okay, if you have a single task to keep a track of, you can create a thermometer chart for that. Just make sure the maximum value should be not more than 100%. So don't freeze it. But you need to remember, you need to take the reference of the cell by entering into the formula bar. You cannot take directly over here. Yeah, it is default freeze. Okay. Yeah, online guys, any query in the thermometer chart section?
No.
Next chart that we have is population pyramid chart. Let me show you how population pyramid chart looks like. So it looks like something like this. Okay, this is the data. Again, we need to prepare our data. Okay, what do you think? What is the base chart of this? What is the base chart for this population pyramid chart?
Bar chart.
Which type of bar chart? Clustered bar chart. Okay, let me have this copy and paste it over here. Okay. So you are saying clustered bar chart, combination chart. Let's say bar chart. Okay. So I am not denying that you cannot represent your data like this. You can. Okay. But if you have a lot more categories, even in bar chart, right? And let's say you have multiple bars, your chart area will increase a lot. You can plot this, but again, if you are able to summarize this into just one screen, then you should go with that option. So I'm not saying it's incorrect. It is also correct. So you are saying ki yahan pe I should go with which chart you are saying? Clustered column chart. Bar chart, sorry. ठीक है. But then how will I have this on the other side? Any of the bars? Okay, let's say what I need to do. Can I make it negative? What is male? Male is blue, female is orange. Can I make orange negative? Yes. So I can simply just copy this and I can paste it over here. Females -1 into this value. Done. So it's negative now. Now I can simply copy and not copy, make the selection, insert, and this part. Somewhat looks like that. Right? Now what I need to have is size. Let's say what all we have over here, properties. So let me select on this bar. Okay. Series overlap, 100%. Done. Right? Both of our overlap now. Okay. Gap width, let me just decrease a bit. Yeah, good to go. Okay. So this is what somewhat similar to this one. Now I need to show my x-axis into the millions part. So what I can do in such cases, I can say Okay, first I need to shift this, right? Position of the y-axis. So right click, format axis, and axis position. Not that much. I think it will be labels. Yeah, label position next to axis. I want to keep, let's say if I say high, it is on the right hand side. If I say low, it is on the this side, left hand side. So good to go with this one. Okay, what's the next thing? I need to display this into millions, my x-axis. So again, right click, format axis. I need to display this into millions, right? So I will go to this number and I will write my custom formula over here. Okay? So I will say if the value is greater than equals to 0, what I need? 0 point, that's a 0. I don't need, let's say 0.0 and 3 commas. Not 3, how many? I want to divide into millions. 2 commas. And I will say what? M, else, semicolon, else what? 0.02 commas, M. Because I want to display negative values into millions also and not with a negative symbol. So this is the formula, custom formula. I'll add this. Can you see? The changes is being done now. So I think it will work if I keep it till 1 decimal place, 0 decimal places. So let me format again. So it's not 0. So I will say just 0. And I will say add. Done. So the x-axis has been now converted into millions. Here. But if you see this chart, this is showing me the legend as one of the legend as millions and still have the same values. Right? So for if I want to achieve this option, what will I do is simply right click, format axis, select the axis, and here I have an option of display units. You want to display units into billions, millions, or trillions, right? Right. So I want to display into millions. Millions. Done. Right. Good to go. I have achieved this part, but why this is 0? Correct. There is one format which I've applied. There's another format which Excel has applied when I selected millions. So 150 divided by 2 commas, what it will be? 0 point something. So what I will do is I will remove my formatting. So again, back to that option number. So I will say, I will just remove what? Commas and M. And I will keep my formula as it is. If it is greater than 0, then 0, else 0. Add and done. So now it is exactly what we wanted. So we have male. I want to shift the position of male and female to legends. Right click, format legends. And let's say you want to keep top right. Done. Or right. And if I check, yeah. Format legend, and I want to keep top. That's the top right. And show the legend without overlapping the chart. So this is how it looks like. I can basically, these lines, I can feed out these lines, format. So I can say, I can increase the transparency of the lines. So these lines will, yeah, increase the transparency of these. Yeah. Okay. So you guys can give the title and format the y-axis color and x-axis color. Rest it is exactly similar to population pyramid. Again, one of the fancy charts. You can even create this using the stack column chart also. When you do it using the stack column chart, you don't have to do that option series overlap. Okay. So this is what your population pyramid chart is. Clear? How to create a population pyramid chart? Online guys, clear with this population pyramid chart?
Yes.
Okay. So next option, next last chart, advanced chart we'll be seeing is waterfall chart. Okay. So let me show you how it looks like. So this is how the waterfall chart looks like. Okay. When you so there are two reasons when you'll be creating a waterfall chart. One, when you want to understand the breakdown over a period of time, you'll be going with the waterfall chart. Second, when you want to understand the breakdown of any categorical variable categories, then also you can go with waterfall chart. Okay. So let me just get this data. So we'll see. So we have direct options available over here. I can simply just select this and insert, and I have an option of waterfall chart over here. I will just select this and I've got the waterfall chart. Clear? When you want to like understand the breakdown, let's say breakdown of your revenue, profit, loss over a period of time, you will be using waterfall chart. Or when you want to understand the breakdown of the like any continuous variable at a category level within the categories, then also can go with the waterfall chart. Okay. Now here, so this is the default option that we have. Let's say if you are not having this default option, how many variables you are able to see in waterfall chart? Continuous variables. Continuous. 2. Okay. What do you think? What will be the base chart for this? Line. Stack. Clustered. Stack. Scattered. No. Column chart. What type of column chart? See, understand. Let's say
bar chart.
it is column chart, but which type of column chart? Stack column chart. See, understand. Now, how many continuous variables I'm having? Huh? This is my, let's say, base value. That is, I started my business with 100 rupees, let's say. ठीक है? Start मैंने कहाँ पे किया था? Jan में किया था. So in Jan, I had how much profit? 20 rupees. So मेरा base value अभी क्या है? 120. ठीक है? So 120. So I started with 120. Now I had a loss of 10 rupees in Feb. मेरा base value क्या बचा? 110. I started with 110 in March. मेरा base value क्या बचा? And I had a loss of 30 rupees. 80. So this is how much? Okay. How many variables I'm having now? 3. Profit, loss and the base value. Because यहाँ पे मेरा loss कितना है? 0 है ना? तो वो तो show नहीं होगा. यहाँ पे मेरा profit 0 है, तो I will be only showing the losses. Clear? This is the logic I have understood. Now let's do the data preparation accordingly. Okay. I will have what? A base value. I will have a, I'll say profit, and I will say loss. So I will be deriving these 3 columns, right? Okay. What is my base value in Jan? Like at the starting, 100. So I will write it manually because I'm not able to form any pattern till now. Okay. So I will say 100. What is my profit? 0. Loss, 0, because I haven't started my business. So I started my business in Jan. Jan में मेरी base value कितनी है? कितने से मैंने start किया? 100. I will give it manually. ठीक है. देखो profit कितने का हुआ? 20. So अभी मेरा profit column है. तो profit में profit है तो profit value आनी चाहिए. Otherwise क्या आना चाहिए? 0. So which function I can use? If. I can say if this value is greater than 0, then return what? This value. Otherwise 0. ठीक है? जहां जहां पे लॉस है वहां पे क्या आ गया? 0. Similarly for the loss, I can say if this value is less than 0, then return what? This value. Otherwise 0. That is profit है तो 0 return करो. So wherever we have profit, it is returning me what? 0. अगर मैंने कॉलम अलग से क्रिएट कर दिया लॉस का, तो आई कैन टेक एब्सोल्यूट. आई एम सेइंग एब्सोल्यूट. So I don't need to show the loss in negative if I've created a separate column. ठीक है. Web में, see when I said base, जब मैंने समझाया था तब मैंने कहा था कि what I entered with into, right? जब मैं वेब में मैंने कितने के साथ एंटर किया था? 120 के साथ. बट अगर मेरे को चार्ट पे रिप्रेजेंट करना है, तो चार्ट पे क्या रिप्रेजेंट करना है? ब्रेकडाउन रिप्रेजेंट करना है ना, कि जो टोटल है बेस वैल्यू का, प्रॉफिट का, लॉस का, वो 120 होना चाहिए, राइट? सो यहाँ पे व्हाट शुड बी माय बार ओवर हियर, जो ब्लू कलर का बार है, व्हाट शुड बी द वैल्यू ऑफ द दैट, सो दैट आई विल कंसीडर एज बेस नाउ. ठीक है. सो व्हाट शुड बी द वैल्यू ऑफ दैट? 110. ठीक है. अब ये 110 कैसे आएगा? सो आई कैन से previous month, this bar, which is what? 100 plus previous month profit, which is 20, minus current month loss, which is what? This is the logic. Clear everyone with this? Same logic I will apply, and I will see. Matlab, this logic starts from Feb onwards, not from Jan onwards. Okay? So I will see this previous month base plus previous month profit minus current month loss. 110, it's correct. So it will display 110 and minus 10 in the orange color, loss, or 10 in orange color, which is loss, which makes it total 120, with which I entered into Feb. So this formula I've derived and it's done. तो आप चेक करोगे मार्च में, what is the bar size? 80, right? It will be, I entered with 110, I had a 30 rupees loss.
हम स्टार्ट हमने 100 से किया, जैन हम 100 से एंटर करते हैं, तो जब हम पेन में एंटर करेंगे तो जैन का ऐड करके वही पे
120 से ऐड कर रहे हैं.
बेस वाली 120
वही तो समझाने के लिए बता रहा हूँ कि we entered, see हमने
मार्च में 110.
गॉट इट, आई विल एक्सप्लेन दिस, बट अंडरस्टैंड कि हमने फेब में 120 के साथ एंटर किया, तो मेरा बार साइज सेम है जो जैन का है. ठीक है. 120 के साथ एंटर किया. अब 120 का जो फेब में जो चीजें हुई हैं, उसको मेरे को ब्रेकडाउन एक्सप्लेन करना है कि व्हाट आई एम लेफ्ट विथ एट द एंड ऑफ द फेब, एंड उसमें उस व्हाट आई एम लेफ्ट विथ मतलब व्हाट आई एंटर्ड विथ, और उसमें मेरा कितना बचा है और कितना लॉस हुआ है. तो उसका लॉजिक तो यही बनता है ना. देखो, ठीक है, आई विल एक्सप्लेन दिस वन सेकंड. मैं क्या करता हूँ इसका, व्हाट यू आर सेइंग मेक सेंस. ठीक है. अगर मैं आपका ये वाला मैं कंसिडर करता हूँ, सपोज जो बेस प्रॉफिट लॉस है, मैं यहाँ पे रख देता हूँ ये वाला टेबल, एंड यहाँ पे मैं फॉर्मूला चेंज कर रहा हूँ. सो आई एम सेइंग कि जैन फेब में मैंने कितने के साथ एंटर किया? 120 के साथ एंटर किया, राइट? सो विच इज दिस वन प्लस प्रॉफिट माइनस लॉस. दैट्स व्हाट यू मेंट, राइट? ठीक है. 120. सो मतलब फेब में मैं 120 के साथ एंटर हुआ, मार्च में मैं कितने के साथ एंटर हुआ था? 110 के साथ एंटर हुआ, बेस वैल्यू, राइट? ठीक है. नाउ आई विल सेलेक्ट दिस and I will select this and I will insert a chart, which is column chart only. Now this is a different analysis which you are talking about. Let me add data labels. Chart title नहीं चाहिए, data labels. This is showing me what? What was the value I entered with. इसका breakdown कहाँ पे है? अब आप कहोगे, let's now understand, ठीक है? You said Feb 120, ठीक है? अब अगर आपको 120 का ब्रेकडाउन शो करना है, तो इसके ऊपर तो आप ऐड नहीं करोगे ना प्रॉफिट और लॉस, वो तो इसी के अंदर होगा. तो मेरे को इसी को किसी तरह ब्रेकडाउन करना होगा, तो उसका लॉजिक तो फॉर्म करना होगा. So that's what I'm doing over here. कि how this 120 will break down. So this will break down as per this, कि what will be the, I entered with 100, 110, नहीं 120. 120 में मेरा 10 का लॉस था, तो I will display 110 as my base value and 10 as my loss, which makes it 120. Ultimately waterfall chart का सेंस ये है कि you are explaining the breakdown. So this makes sense now. So now what will I do? I will select this month, I will select this base profit loss, done, and I will insert what? Stack what? Oh, base stack, this one, stack column chart, done. chart we'll see later. Okay. यहाँ पे the gray ones, orange ones are what? Profit, and the gray ones are loss. ठीक है. What I want to do is first I will select all of these. I have to format data series. I will make it no fill, blank, and I will select just the first bar and I will make it solid fill with blue. Then, okay. I will make the profit as green, and I will make the losses as red. Now, what I will do is I will give the data labels. Okay. When I'm giving the data labels, I'm getting the data labels of each of these, all the three continuous variables. So I will have to select this manually 2 times and I have to delete it manually. This is a one-time thing that you need to do. You cannot do that. See, gone. I have to do this thing again. If I want to display that data labels, that was one mistake that I did. I did not select twice and it displayed, basically deleted this one also.
Sir, what the individual को click करके उसका show value कर सकते हैं?
So if I click on this,
Individual का अगर आप gradient fill डाल सकते हैं, solid fill डाल सकते हैं, तो उसकी value भी डाल सकते हैं.
let's say if I just click this, okay? Let me remove the data labels. Okay? And if I just select this, and if I say, again, if I select this, I can data labels. Yeah, that can be done. But यहाँ पे फिर ये zero भी जाएगा. अब ये zero एक साथ सबका zero चला जाएगा. Zero means here the losses will be removed from the red. I don't want that. So, chalo this thing done, and I can remove this from here. So there were 2 zeros, one for the profit, one for the loss. Again, done. Here I have to manually do it. Zero. Just a second, guys. Basically, just removing all the zero values. And done. And this is how you are going to create your waterfall chart. Clear? You can basically do the formatting on top of it if you want to. See, ultimately, it's the logics that we are using just to create fancy charts. Okay. So that was the focus initially. You need to you need to start applying logics in your approaches. Whatever approach you're thinking of, how you are going to execute those. Any query regarding the waterfall chart, you do have a direct option. If you don't, you can simply build it like this. This can only be static chart. So if you change the values over here, so we have applied formula, right? So ultimately, okay, let's say what I'll do instead of over here 20, let me make it 40. Okay, right? And if I check over here, it is
instead of a profit, it comes to a loss.
Instead of profit, it comes to a loss. So my base value will change accordingly. Ultimately, I have applied my formula from the fab onwards. So see, let's say 20. Okay? Fab may, if I make it instead of -10, if I make it 10. So you'll be able to see a green bar.
But the value is showing as 0.
Value is showing as 0. Yeah. And that's static in case of values.
So we are manually deleting those values.
Yes. Then that's static in case of values, but formula wise it is correct. This can be done manually.
So can we use a formula like if the value is 0, it will be the color of the starting so that it won't be appearing.
If the value is 0, The color is changing dynamically, that is correct, but we have a problem in case of the values, labels. So ideally should pick up uh, so it is saying 0. Ideally it should take, so that is the loss label, no? As far as I know, it is static, but I will see what all options we have in case of labels. Okay? It is static. Let's say if I try this over here, it is -10, which if I make it 10. So it is working fine. So I'll check what logic they have used. Okay, I'll check this. Any other query in the waterfall chart section? Online guys. From this. So now we'll be seeing how we are going to build a dashboard with the help of slicers and timelines. So this is how we are going to build the dashboard. The dashboard will look like something like this. And this is my data, and this is the data prep. So while sharing this sheet with the client, we'll hide the data prep sheet because ultimately the client will see the data and the dashboard. Okay. So let me copy the data over here.
सर इसमें शॉर्ट कट क्या वो एबीसी जो है ना प्रॉपर अलाइन करने के बाद जो कॉलम्स के अलाइन करते हैं ना जैसे अभी हैश हैश है अगर उसको आप ट्रैक करोगे तो उसकी वैल्यू दिखेगी
हाँ,
तो इसका एक शॉर्टकट भी होता है ना डायरेक्ट
I don't remember. No, you can check. You can check on the Google for that. Okay. Now, this is the data that we are having. I have the order ID, order date, ship mode, and the name of the customers, in which segment they have done the purchase, and from which country. Then we have the product ID. That product belongs to which category, and then which subcategory, and what is the name of the product. Then what's the sales amount, what's the quantity ordered, how much discount has been given, what's the profit margin for the company, and what is the shipping cost and order priority. Okay. So these all are the, okay, now is it a global level data or a local level data? Global, right? So what will I do is, now tell me what all analysis I can do from here. What all analysis I can do from here? So let's say, okay, let me write the analysis. I can do, okay, just do one thing. I'll make it very easy for you. Identify which are the categorical variables, which are the continuous variables. Which are the categorical variables? And also do not consider very high cardinality, right? So one is ship mode. Let's say how many cardinality? 4 categories. I can consider this. Customer name is having very high cardinality. In this case, segment, low cardinality we can take. Country, high cardinality, but still a geographical variable we can use. Now, category and subcategory, obviously. Product is high cardinality. And our objective is to build a sales dashboard. So we'll be using this column, continuous column sales, because we are just building a sales dashboard, and we have the order priority also. Like what's the order priority? Okay. The things that you need to remember. Okay. Cardinality means higher number of categories. Let's say if you're having around 50 plus categories or in a variable, will it make any sense to plot that variable? No, right? That's what cardinality is. So what are these are the steps that you need to take care while building any dashboard? Okay? You need to understand the business requirement. So our business requirement is what? We need the dashboard for the sales. that we are going to build a sales dashboard. Also, you need to keep in mind for whom you are building the dashboard. That is, who is going to utilize your dashboard. Is it the manager or the, let's say, CEO or higher level authorities? Because let's say if you're saying managers, so it can be a north head manager, north head or south head or west head. Accordingly, you will filter the data and will build the dashboard for the north region sales, because you would not like to see that north region manager to see the sales of the other regions as well, right? But when you're building a dashboard for higher authority, let's say CEO or CFO, you will be building a dashboard at the overall level, that is for the entire data for all the regions. So you need to keep in mind what is your business requirement, whether you are building a marketing dashboard or a sales dashboard, right? And then for whom you are building the dashboard. Accordingly, you will set your data requirements, what all tables you require, and what all columns that table should have. Okay. Sometimes it is given from the client that this is the data set which you need to utilize for building the dashboard. And sometimes you need to fetch your own data. Okay. That means you need to ask the client what all data you need from different data sources. Then again, data cleaning and processing. Obviously, this is the thing that we have been doing till now. Lookup functions, custom formatting, all of these are what? A part of what? Data cleaning and processing. Then deriving KPIs. KPIs are what? Key performance indicators. So let's say I have a sales dashboard, a sales column, but if I want to understand the profit, if I have a selling price and cost price, I can derive a profit from it by subtracting selling price minus cost price, right? So this is a KPI, key performance indicator, which I am deriving using the existing columns available in the data set. So again, it's not that key you can directly think of what all KPIs you need to derive. Once you get your data set, okay, you do your research and you understand from this existing data set what all columns I can use and what all KPIs I can derive. Okay? For example, percentage growth, profit, all such KPIs you can derive. Once you have done that, you need to understand so see, you will be doing multiple analysis to understand which analysis will make sense. If there's some analysis, some chart which does not make sense, you won't be keeping it in the dashboard. Okay? So let's say if I'm building a sales dashboard, this is one of the analysis I'm going to do. That is, I will monitor my sales for each of the respective years. That's one of the analysis, and how they are performing at the product level. So all these things will be doing your research, and after that, you'll be building your dashboard. Clear? One more thing, and at last, you need to, once your dashboard is built, you need to find out your findings. What are the findings from your dashboard? When you're building a dashboard, let's say you're building a sales dashboard, so that sales dashboard should have a particular theme, right? That, for example, the color schemes should match. The formattings should match. Bold, italic, right? The text formattings, all these things should match. So there should be a particular scheme which should be followed by for building any dashboard. Okay? It should not be like you are some other color scheme you are following for, let's say, product by sales, and then for the category by sales you are following some other color scheme. So it won't look very good. So these are the key points that you need to remember while building any dashboard. Okay? Now coming to the point, which all variables you need to keep in the slicers. Okay? Obviously, you need to keep the categorical variables in the slicers, but it does not mean that you'll keep all the categorical variable in the slicers. Slicers, I'll tell what slicers are. Slicers are basically the visual which you're using to filter out the data. Okay? I'll tell that. Then it's kind of a visual only slicer, which you're clicking and filtering the data. So these three are the variables which you will be using in the slicers: date and time, geographical variables, and categorical variables. Now, among these variables, the variables which you have used in the analysis for building the charts, you won't be using those variables in the slicers. I'll tell you the reason for that. Okay, so let's understand that. So this is my data for the this is my data prep. Okay, so let's see what all analysis I can have. So I want to build a sales dashboard. So I can have ship mode by sales. So I can have ship mode wise sales. I can have segment wise sales. So again, segment wise sales. Because I'm building a sales dashboard, I can have country wise sales, category wise sales, subcategory wise sales. Okay. category wise sales subcategory. And what else I have? Order priority wise sales. Okay. Order priority wise sales. Now, what I have done is, as the initial step, I have used the sales column because I wanted to build a sales dashboard, and I have fit in the categorical variables in it, right? Because individually with categorical variables, you won't be able to make any sense. You need to have continuous variable along with it. I want to build a sales dashboard. Okay. Now, I will be building a pivot table. I'll be doing this analysis using pivot table. Okay. Let's say I am doing segment wise sales. So I will write over here segment wise sales. So I will insert a pivot table and table range. You can choose any of the categorical variable, but accordingly, then you need to decide what all variables you are going to keep in the slicer. So data tab, this. Just remember that I am going to connect pivot tables with each other. Basically, I'm creating a slicer, and with that slicer, I will connect multiple pivot tables. But I will be able to connect only those pivot tables which have the same data source. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Same pivot cache. So this is segment wise sales. And what I will do, segment wise sales. So segment, where should I keep segment?
Corporate, consumer, and both. So second over the slicer and filter out.
You can keep any of the in the slicer. Okay? You'll understand while I'll go through it. I want segment by sales. How will I do it? I want to show the composition. I want to show the composition. I can show the composition because I do not have a lot of categories. Segment. Let's say segment will be in the way segment. Segment will be in the rows and sales will be in the submission values. Done. So what I will do now, I will select this and I will insert a pie chart. Done. Okay. This is the pie chart which I have created. So I can add data labels and I can convert this into percentage. You know how to do it, like formatting. Okay. Yes, Carrie. Now my point is, see, I have used segment variable column in the analysis, like in building the chart, right? Now, if I use the segment variable in the, let's say, if I will select this pivot table and I will say this, I will have a slicer option. Yeah, in the pivot table analyze, I have insert slicer. I think I have over here also insert. Yeah, over here also I have that option, slicer. Once I do that, it is showing me all the columns from the data source or the pivot cache. If I'm saying I want to create slicer for what? Segment. Done. It is showing me the unique categories of the segment. Now my point is, see, let's say I have multiple pivot tables. I have created multiple pivot tables. Now this slicer is connected to only this pivot table. So if the other pivot tables have the same pivot cache, I can connect this slicer to all those pivot tables, and accordingly the chart will be filtered. So if I click on consumer, what is happening? Consumer is 100%. If I click on corporate, corporate is 100%. If I click on home office is 100%. So does this chart make any sense? No. So that is why I'm saying when I've used any categorical variable in the analysis, I won't be using it in the slicer. Correct? Instead, what will I do? Let me remove this and delete. Okay, done. Clear till this point? Now, I have high cardinality in the regions. Can I use region in the slicer? So that will make sense. I'll be able to get segment-wise sales for each region. Make sense or not? So I will select this pivot table and I will insert a slicer, which will have what? Regions. Where is the region? Country. So I have the slicer with the countries. Now I want to see the segment by sales for, let's say, Australia. So these are the segment. Let me just format this thing. Format data labels, show percentage, and outside tab. Okay. So this is the distribution of sales in terms of proportion of sales in Australia. If I want to see for, let's say, India, this is the distribution of sales for India. So it makes sense now, right? Now I won't be doing the analysis. I won't be creating the charts using the country column because I have used that in the slicer. Mark it as a rule. The variables which are using in the slicer should not be used in the charts, and the variables which are using in the charts should not be used in the slicers. Okay? So this is my composition. Let me clear this. Okay. So that means what I have done is, okay. Now see, what will it make sense if I use segment wise sales, or if I create a pie chart using segment, ship mode, category, subcategory, order priority? No, right? In fact, I can come out with some other analysis. See, in repeating this chart again and again won't make any sense because I have taken the composition using segment wise sales. Let me just mark it. Okay, this is showing me what composition. I have written it over here. Composition. Okay. Country is taken into slicers. Okay. Category. So category by sales. If category does not have high cardinality, I can compare within the categories using the comparative analysis with chart, column chart. So again, I will create a pivot table. Insert pivot table, and table range will be this data. Done. Which chart it is? Category, right? Category in the, what do I have in the category? Furniture, office supplies, and technology. Okay. See, either I can have category in the subcategory. For subcategory, I won't be creating a column chart. It will be a bar chart. First of all, okay. I have other variables also. If you see, subcategory, I have order priority and I have ship mode, right? So let's say, will it make more sense if I take category as a slicer? So category wise, segment wise sales. So what let me do, instead using this table, I will create insert category as a. So you can take category in the the column chart, but then you have to take shift mode into the slicer there. Okay, comparative analysis. So I'm taking category into the slicer for now. So where is the slicer? Slicer using this table, only a single table. I'm creating the multiple slicers. So where's the category? This one. If you see over here, if I click on furniture, it is showing me the segment wise sales of the furniture. Yeah, clear this. So category is also gone. So that means what will I, for the comparative analysis, I'm taking ship mode. Ship mode, what type of ship mode it is? So let's say ship mode, and I can take sales into the balance. Okay. Let me select this pivot table, and I will insert a column chart. Carry, when you want to filter out your data or make your dashboard dynamic, if you want to make your dashboard dynamic, you will be using slicer for that. And to create slicers, you need to have pivot tables. Okay. Now see this. This is giving me what? Total sales of the ship mode, like how much sales is done in first class on the same day, second class, standard class, right? Can I further enrich this information? Like instead of having the total sales, if I would come to know what is the segment wise sales in each of the ship mode categories, that will be much more better to go with. So I will create a cross tab in that case. So I will say feed list, and I will say okay, segment, right? So where's my segment? Segment I'm not using in the slicer. Okay? Segment in the columns. It's a cross tab. Now if you check the chart, this makes more sense. Now it is showing me segment wise sales for each of the ship mode. Clear? Similarly, this is used. Similarly, I can have segment wise sales of what? Subcategories in the bar chart. let me just insert another pivot table. So these are all what? These are all analysis, segment-wise sales of ship mode, segment-wise sales. So this is composition. This is what? Comparative analysis. Let me insert one more table, pivot table, and the data will be this one. I need to have subcategories. So subcategories will be in the rows and sales will be in the, but this is giving me the overall sales of the subcategories. Okay. Now see, understand why I'm doing this bifurcation. Okay. This is giving me the overall sales of the subcategories, right? Let's say, but some of the, any particular category is returning me loss, subcategory is returning me loss. If I want to find out what particular, what can the reason for that, let's say segment, I can further bifurcate it to understand. So that's much more deep analysis. Again, I will do what? Segment into the columns. That's a cross tab. And I can create a clustered bar chart. Insert this. Let me remove the segment. Anyway, I don't need it. Here, it is giving me the bifurcation of the segment-wise sales in each of the subcategories. So that's what comparison is. We have done composition, comparison. Now I need to understand like what's the analysis over a period of time. Trend analysis, we can say. For that, I need a line chart. So I will say trend analysis. Again, I need a pivot table. Insert, pivot table, table range, this data. I'm done. Okay, so order priority we haven't used, right? I will take this into the slicer. And order date into the rows. And I will need sales, which will tell me the trend. Huh? 1 second, let me base sales. I can expand this. I can expand this, let's say expand entire field, which I can further expand. See, this is what kind of table? Long table, right? So I can get this thing. What I can do is I can make it a tabular form. Okay, make selection pivot table. Go to design, and in the design you have an option of report layout. How you want to lay out this report? So I am saying show tabular form. It's tabular form now. I have subtotals. I don't want to see the subtotals, so I will say do not show subtotals. I want to fill these values. I will say repeat all item labels. Clear? This is what we have. Now what I want to do, this will give me what? Overall trend, right? Let's see how it gives me the chart, insert and line chart. So this is a bit messy. Let me make it back as it is in hierarchy only, and then let me check how it is giving me. Okay. Insert chart, line chart. Just a second, guys. And I can also, so if I do that, insert line chart, where's the line chart? I can expand and collapse like this. Okay, this will make more sense. Okay, now this is what the overall trend, but I have been maintaining some consistency over here. So I would like to know the segment wise trend also, right? But for the bifurcation. segment, where is segment? I need to create a cross tab. So I have the segment by sales now. So in segment, I can see कि basically consumer is performing very good among all the three segments. Correct? ठीक है. This is the chart I have. I have created a cross tab for the segments. ठीक है. Now I need to create a slicer for the order priority. Insert and slicer, order priority, done. And also I will insert a timeline also for the date. Okay? So I have an option, this insert timeline. When I say timeline, it will only show me those variables which are of date at a time. Okay? See what happened. I haven't selected any table, pivot table. Yeah. So it is showing me only date columns, ship date and order date. So I'll say order date. So it is showing me the timeline. And this is my data prep sheet. Now what will I do is I will build my dashboard using this sheet. Okay? So go to dashboard. And I will say merchant center, and I will give the name as sales dashboard. Let me make it bold. So let me increase the size a bit. Yep. Let me give this. Darker color would work over here. This one to the left aligned. Okay. Now what will I do? Whatever analysis I have done, I will just place those charts over here. That's it. I'll just copy the charts. This is my data prep sheet, which I will hide it, not delete. Okay. So let me have the slicers. So we have, what all slicers we have? So let me have the category, Control C on dashboard. Okay. Next one will be order priority. Then next will be country. So you can align however you want to align your slices. Next I want to get is this chart. Next I want to get is this one, bar chart. And trend. And we are left with timeline. Control C. Now I'll place these things. So category we have. I'm copying it and then pasting it, Gary. Now see, one option you have over here is when you click on this, yeah, in the slicer section, like whatever visual you select, you have an option of align. Okay, how you want to align your visual. So you have snap to grid and snap to shape. When you say snap to shape, that means that particular shape. Okay, when you say snap to grid, so whatever grid lines you are saying, you are able to see, it won't stop in between. It will basically further extend to that particular grid line. So if I say snap to grid, see, currently what is happening over here is when I'm keeping it till over in between, it is staying over here. But when I click over here and I'll say align this visual to snap to grid. Okay? When I'm dragging it, see what is happening. So when I'm keeping in between, either it is going to the next grid line or to the previous one, not in between. So that's a very easy way to just align your visuals. Similarly, same thing I can do for this one also, snap to grid. I think it was done snap to grid. 1 second. So snap to grid done. Yeah. Same over here. And same over here. Same is the case over here. Aligned and it is snap to grid. I can further extend this much, margin center, and then I have this line chart. Let's further extend this. And this one. Done. So this is how your dashboard looks like. Here. Now, when I click on furniture, only this chart is getting changed. You can format it any like whatever formatting you want to apply on top of it. But when I'm clicking on furniture, only this chart is getting changed because this slicer is created from this pivot table. Okay, if I remove this, if I click on order priority, only this chart is getting changed because I have created all the slices using this pivot table only, right? Composition pivot table. Okay. Now what will I want is I want to connect this slicer to all these charts. So first thing I will do is when I do that, so I press right click and I go to report connections. This will connect all the pivot tables to this slicer. But I have no idea which is pivot table 4, pivot table 5, right? So what will I do first is I will go to data prep sheet and I will give the relevant name to these pivot tables. So how can I do that is simply once you do that, you have to pivot table analyze option here in the pivot table, give the name. So it is what segment wise sales done. This is the name I've given to this. Ship mode. So give the names which you understand. Sales. And this one is subcategory by sales. Which is let's say trend analysis. Report connection. So the names are changed now. Currently it is linked to which one? Segment by sales. I can link it to others also. And once done, when I click on furniture, now my entire dashboard, I'm able to, this is what? This is composition of sales for furniture category. This is what? Ship mode wise. You once you have built your dashboard, now you will be doing your findings like this. Okay? This is the trend analysis of the furniture category for each of the segment. So this is only for this slicer. If I click see for other slicers, they are still not connected. So I need to connect these also. Again, right click, report connect. country also, report connection. Let's say if I just want to see for a particular year. Yes, I just want to see the data for 2014. So this is my overall sales analysis for 2014. Let's say if you want to see for a particular country in 2014, let's say I want to see for India. So this is the sales analysis. So what will I do is I will lock the sheet. I will protect the sheet. So we have an option over here in the review tab, protect workbook and protect sheet. What is the difference between the two? When you protect sheet, the user is able to open the workbook but not able to do any changes in that particular sheet. After entering the password, he will be able to see the data, not before that, because he won't be able to open the workbook only. Okay? So what I will do, let's say protect sheet, and I am saying 1, 2, 3 is the password I'm giving. Re-entering my password 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now if I'm not able to click anywhere, say not able to even select the slices. Once I protect the worksheet. So understand, by default, all the cells are locked. By default, what happens? All the cells are locked. So let's say this is a cell. Let's say something over here, A, or let's say Jan, Feb, March. Okay? This is the cell. So among this entire sheet, you have applied a data validation on this cell. So the user should be able to select only this cell, not anything else. So what I will do, say right click and I will say format cells. When I go to the protection over here, you can see it is by default locked. I will unlock it. Only this particular cell is unlocked now. And I will say okay. Now I will apply worksheet protection. Go to review tab, protect worksheet. Let the password be 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 again. Tab. Not able to click anywhere, make changes, but I can select over here. So you can apply data validation first over here, and then you are able to select this cell. See, not any other cell. I am able to select except this one because I have unlocked it. Okay. Same thing we will do in case of dashboard. So I will unlock the slicers and then I will apply worksheet protection. So I will select this. I have to unlock it. Okay. Unprotect sheet. Password it is asking 1, 2, 3. So it is unprotected now. I will select this. Right click and I will say size and properties. Okay. Once I do that, I'll go to the properties section and here it says locked. I will uncheck it. I will do the same thing for the others also. Uncheck it, country, uncheck it, and for the timeline, uncheck it. Done. So now I have unlocked all the slicers. Now I will protect the sheet. Let's say 1, 2, 3, and done. 1, 2, 3, and done. I'm not able to make any changes to the charts, but if I select slicer, see, I'm able to select slicers. So now the user will be able to select the slicer only and not will be able to make any changes in the charts. So now this dashboard is ready to be shared with the client. Okay. The next worksheet. Okay. Guys, any doubt in designing the dashboard?
The upper right there, I think that's the
Just right click.